everyone. This is a kind of impromptu, kind of planned, but kind of impromptu live stream.
Mostly impromptu.
It is.
You went all robot on me. I don't know if it's the same live. And now you're frozen.
This.
Well, that's okay.
This is kind of a test. I just want to see how it works. That's why this was necessary. I'm planning on doing some kind of like a atheisty, skeptic-y panel show kind of thing in the future, where I'm going to get two guests on and we're going to talk about different things and pick them apart. So this is kind of like a test for that. I'm just trying to ignore you while I'm getting through this little intro piece, Sarah, while you're dancing. I'm just trying to out. But yeah, hopefully you can hear me okay. Atheist News said I'm a robot. Skynet has become sentient.
You were for a bit, but now you seem okay.
Okay, that's good. If it does get really unbearably bad, then please do, like, I know now I've said that everyone's going to go, it's unbearably bad. But like, if it does become unbearably bad, then I will possibly look into another streaming service or something for future ones. As I say, mostly this is a test, but I do want to talk about a few things in particular. One thing I wanted to talk about first is Halloween. But before I do that, I want to, anyone who's not familiar with you, Sarah, just say hi to them and say, and let's bring them in on who you are as a person.
Okay. Hi, I'm Unholy Sara. I do YouTube content that's somewhat similar to Andey's, other like atheist stuff. And I am obsessed with Halloween.
I think that's all you need to know, isn't it? That's like, those are the headlines, those are the highlights.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was kind of one of the first wondering is fellows is short for fellow human. It might be. It might well be. I have no idea. But yeah, so Halloween is one of the, at least in England, it's one of those festivals that it's mostly for kids. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about what it was like for you and Halloween growing up. And obviously you love Halloween now. Was that always the case, or did that become the case when you became an atheist, or like what's the deal there?
So there's a lot of like gaps in my memory, like big gaps from my childhood. So there's a lot of stuff that you'd think I'd remember that I don't. So a lot of stuff I only know because I was told, and this is one of them. Apparently, I have always been obsessed with Halloween, but I don't remember that very well. My dad just was telling me about that like a week ago. So yeah, always been obsessed.
Always been obsessed. And what was it like for you that you remember as a child? Like, because obviously, for me, growing up, as I say, it was more a child's thing. It was more something that kids did, and we did a bit of dress up and stuff. So my mum grew up Jehovah's Witness, so she never had any of like the seasonal festive sort of stuff, you know, which meant that now that she's out of it, Christmas is a particularly exciting time for her. She loves Christmas, and I've kind of grown up with that. Like, Christmas is like the best time of the year, and so all of the stuff that she didn't get to enjoy now is like she just really puts herself into it. Halloween is sort of less so. As I say, it's kind of more for the kids, and growing up we would kind of dress up and things. I don't remember doing much trick-or-treating as a kid. Was that something you did? Did you do trick-or-treating?
Oh yeah. And you know, honestly, here it's mostly for kids too, but I'm weird. But yeah, I remember my sisters and I, mostly my older sister and I, would like have contests to try and see who is the most creative, but then we just end up combining costumes. And like, I remember going as like a vampire hippie, and we had this slogan the whole night. We kept saying, "I want to suck your blood humanely." It was so weird.
So did you do you have any particular memories of particular costumes that you
Oh, I remember
loved
a few
or
of
that
them.
you
I remember one year my sisters and I, since there's three of us, we all went as the Powerpuff Girls, but we couldn't find the right costumes and the right sizes, so we went as each other's favorite Powerpuff Girls. So that was great.
That's
I
one
remember.
creative way to stick to Powerpuff Girls. It's like, right, what we know for sure is we need to dress as Powerpuff Girls. So how are we going to make this happen?
And then I remember in fourth grade, I wanted to be a mom for Halloween. So
You want to be mom?
I wanted to be a mom for Halloween. So I just dressed in like normal clothing or maybe like more grown up than usual clothing. And I grabbed a baby doll and I painted its face like a clown and I put it in a little doll stroller and it was a mom for Halloween and my baby was a clown. That was a fun one. I gotta you'd go to school dressed up and we had like a costume parade around the gym and it was super cute, but I got the weirdest looks from my classmates who already thought it was weird because
So
I was still the new kid.
I just want to say hi to like a bunch of people. I'm not going to go through and say hi
Yes,
to everyone
please.
in fact because there's so many people there, but hello everyone. Thank you.
Only the people you like.
Yeah, just the important ones. Just the ones with more subscribers than me that I need to suck up. No, I just want to say hi to
So
everybody.
we've got Zod. Like,
Yeah, so Zod,
hi,
hi. No, I just want to say hi to everybody, really. Thank you for being here with us and for taking a chance on the first live stream I've ever done. Let's be fair. It could be pretty messy. So yeah, I'm trying to like pick out a comment and stick it on the screen. There we go. Yay! This is fun.
Have you seen Nightmare Before Christmas, Andy?
I think so. It's Tim Burton in it. I think I've seen it. I don't really care for Tim Burton, to be honest. I'm not the biggest fan.
You put a Nightmare Before Christmas tweet or quote on the screen, so you know.
Well, it rhymed, so I just thought I'd stick it on.
I love that movie.
I don't want to disappoint Manaw, but the cats are asleep, so they might make an appearance later. Ned was just running around like a mad thing almost up until I hit go live. So we will see if he wakes up again. He might just water himself out. But yeah, so let me just grab my little thingy here. So do you remember, what was it, like a week ago now or something, Ex-Cult Baby did that stream where she had the Ouija board and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Do you say Ouija?
Yeah, Ouija. I say Ouija.
Ouija. So obviously we were both watching it. A bunch of other people were watching it. Whenever I see something like that, okay, so I am an atheist and I don't believe in any of that. However, when I'm faced with something supernatural, ghost related, like ghost films are things that I'm just like, no, thank you. And they like, I can watch kind of scary stuff and I'm fine with it. But then when it's ghosts, especially like little kids ghosts, that's always like no, too much. Luigi, what's that got to do with anything? Oh, okay. No, okay. Yeah. Now I've said it out loud. I heard it. Yeah.
Oh, it took me a good minute, didn't it? All right.
Yeah. So whenever I see stuff like that, it always puts me on edge, and it freaks me out. And when we were watching that live stream, there was nothing there that I thought convinced me. There was nothing there, and I was like, "That's scary." Was there anything for you when you were watching that you were like?
Kinda. So like I try to keep an open mind about things because like I don't know, I kind of like want to believe in the paranormal, but like I know better than to. But
there is an appeal to believing in it, right? Because it is like, I don't know, the mystical, the unanswerable. There's an appeal to fill in the unknown with stories and
Mm-hmm.
exciting things. I can appreciate that. By the way, the cats are now awake and fighting. Well, they call it playing. It's pretty aggressive, but they might make an appearance at this point.
They're talking. I'm sorry, real quick. They're talking about the movies they can't watch. I think they should all just go watch Amityville Horror. There's like a little 6-year-old kid dead in a closet or something, and then she's a ghost.
I think I've seen that. I think I've seen the original, I think, and then I think I saw the remake thing, which I believe was Ryan Reynolds or something. Was it Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, it was, and he was shirtless a lot. Anyway.
Why don't I remember that better? I need to go and watch it again now. So
sorry,
I
keep
think then they did a new one. You distracted me with the thought of Ryan Reynolds with his top off.
Yeah, didn't they do the new 2001 or 2003 or something? Because I feel like my mom watched it right when it came out on DVD, and I was home and I was still really young, and it gave me nightmares for weeks.
So I used to have it on DVD. We used to go every weekend in my hometown. We had one of these DVD exchange shops. So I used to teach guitar. So I would go and teach guitar, and then afterwards I'd take a couple of quid from what I'd earned, a couple of pounds for the non-Brits, and I would go down the road and I'd go into this shop and I would buy a couple of DVDs, and then I'd go and get really high and then watch them. Basically, that was my weekly routine. And one of the ones so anytime I bought those, they would end up on my shelf. So I just had this growing collection of DVDs, and if I never watched them, they'd just sit there and gather dust. Amityville Horror was one of them that I did watch a few times. And I believe Netflix, it may have been Netflix, did a new one in that series or something, if I remember rightly. And I think it's got the guy that plays Jerome and Jeremiah in Gotham in it. And I remember watching it a while back, but I don't remember all the details, but I have a vague memory of him being in it. And if you've seen Gotham, and if you've seen his portrayal of Joker in Gotham, it's pretty good. I think it's up there. I'm not a big fan of these sort of long running, serialized kind of things that just drag out pointless storylines. But that was pretty good. I'll be honest. I'm pretty impressed by the Joker in that. I haven't seen the new Joker. Have you seen the new Joker? No,
we want to, and then we keep just not going, and they don't know why.
I think we're gonna have to go and see that soon. My sister was saying that she enjoyed it. I've seen kind of mixed reviews, but then there is always mixed reviews. These days, people are always looking for the problem and stuff, aren't they? The amount of times you go on YouTube and you see videos that are just the problem with, or this is what's wrong with. I just think, let's look for the good things in something, maybe, instead of picking everything to pieces all the time. So anyway, this live stream is a preparation for a thing that I'm calling Picked Apart, which is in total congruence with the point I just made. So in terms of the supernatural, have you ever had any kind of experience that you couldn't explain, or were I don't know what that was, but it freaked me out, or anything like that?
Yeah, a couple. The one when I was 12 and we had just moved to a new house and there wasn't a bed or anything in my room yet. I was just laying there and I swore I saw a little pirate ghost just fly over my head. I still have no idea what the hell happened there.
Pirate ghost.
Yeah. It was a kid in a pirate costume, and it just flew over and into my sister's room, and that was it. It was so weird. I don't know what the hell was up with that. Maybe I was half asleep and dreaming. But then when I was 19, I kept thinking I was seeing ghosts.
Yeah.
Not enough cats. Well, if I can get one to come over.
That's no longer valid.
Ha! Yeah, when I was 19, I kept thinking I was seeing ghosts everywhere, but I was actually just hallucinating and having a mental breakdown.
There's this thing.
But same thing.
there's this sleep thing. So I have a few kind of weird sleep disorder things, and it runs in my family, like waking up in the night and like I've walked around a bit. I've also dealt with some sexsomnia, which I'm going to talk about on my channel at some point. But it kind of runs in the family, like weird waking up in the night and doing things. One of my grandparents was dreaming that his wife, another one, I'm being like non-specific, but one of my grandparents dreamed that his wife was talking to another person, another man in the dream, and he went to punch the man in the dream and then punched her in the face while sleeping. Which is like, so that kind of thing runs in my family, right? And I've heard about this other kind of sleep disorder, which Elena Fender, who's on YouTube, if anyone's into how to describe, like, so there's like a bunch of LA kind of queer lesbian YouTubers. There's also a few Canadian ones as well, and these are kind of Canadian ones. And Elena talks about how she has like a weird thing where her brain gets stuck between waking and sleeping states. So she'll wake up and keep dreaming. So she has like weird dreams of things that obviously aren't happening, but she's totally convinced they're happening. She's getting up and she's like interacting with the dream as it's happening, which is like, that's pretty messed up. Like I would freak out if I was having something like that happen. I mean, I think I was saying to you when we were chatting on Minecraft the other day, I think you were there. I think it was you and Atom. I was saying about how sometimes I wake up like whimpering and that, like night terrors and stuff. And one time I was in like a war zone, and there was all this stuff going on, and I seemed to be fine with the war, but I put my foot in a puddle, and that was what made me whimper while I was in the dream.
Oh yeah, no, I do remember you talking about this.
And I woke up whimpering because I put my foot in a puddle. I think that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. It's like, I'm fine with the war, just don't make me stand in a puddle. So I just want to go over the chat a little bit and just put a few comments up. This one, I definitely condone. I definitely like Mark Hamill's Joker. I think he does a great job with the voice. And Jerome for me is pretty good. I'm really interested to see Joaquin Phoenix's Joker in the new film. I want to see that before I make up my mind on who I think's best. But I feel like Heath Ledger's one is pretty secure in one of the top spots. I think he did such a great job with that. And we won't talk about Jared Leto. Sorry, Mr. Leto. I just don't think it was that good. But I also feel like the film was pretty shocking as well. Like, we watched it and we're about 3/4 of the way through, and I was like, I still don't know what's happening here. Like, there's no plot. This is just nothing. What did you think to Suicide Squad, Sarah?
Didn't see it.
You didn't see it? No, don't blame you.
I want to, but I haven't.
I think that if we're looking at DC films to watch, I wouldn't put it on the top 10, unfortunately. And that's not because anyone in particular did a bad job. I'm not so keen on Jared Leto's Joker because he really feels like a glorified gangster. And it didn't really hit the Joker-y vibe for me. But yeah.
I just kind of assumed it must have been really good because everyone was like obsessed with it when it came out.
Yeah, I didn't know that people were obsessed with it in a good way though. I feel like they were all just
I don't know. Everyone was like dressing up as Harley Quinn and like.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, that she stole the show, and it's partly because she did a fairly good job, partly because she possibly the writers and the directors and everything made her kind of star of the show. But then also Margot Robbie's beautiful, so you put her in something and you make the film dodgy, and she's gonna stick out. I think that's kind of my thinking on that. Jay and Silent Bob reboot. It's a weirdly limited release. I don't know about that. I need to look into that because I do like Kevin Smith films, and I do like Jay and Silent Bob, so I need to look into that one. But Clerks 2 was, I don't know if anything else has come out since Clerks 2 in that universe. But I did enjoy that one. I feel like a lot of this humor from these films it's probably not going to fly today, though, because of obviously now we've kind of moved into a place with a little bit more politically correct sort of language. So I'm wondering whether that's going to translate well over to the average, and maybe that's why it was a limited release, so that the hardcore fans who are okay with dick jokes are going to appreciate it. What was this? The family. Is that related to the oh no, okay. So there's two cults called the Family, isn't there? There's the Family that they did on Netflix, the Netflix Family, which is to do with like Doug Coe and like the American government and all that. And then there's the other family, which I believe I did hear about this, and apparently Joaquin Phoenix's brother was close friends with Keanu Reeves. And then the brother killed himself or something like that. I don't know.
I haven't seen anything you've talked about so far.
Well, that's not films. That's not films. That's real life. And the family.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, now I feel stupid. Thanks for that. That's your fault.
I should have been clear on what I was talking about. What's the what is the other name for the family that Joaquin Phoenix grew up in? Does anyone in the chat know? Let me know. I mean,
I'm gonna have to.
Because there's so many cults.
Wait a sec.
Family and this and that, and they're all like the weird false sense. Clerks 3 is being made, but the actor who plays Randall was against it for a long time. River Phoenix was the brother.
So what was all this?
So
teach me. I'm ready to learn.
Okay, so Joaquin Phoenix, I believe, grew up in a cult, the Children of God cult.
I think I've heard of
that. His siblings did as well. He left. I think he was between 3 and 7 when he left. I can't remember the exact age there. And chat as well. So shout out to OKI. We chatted recently, and I'm looking forward to this new video that OKI is working on. I don't know how much I can say, so I'm just going to say that. Joaquin Phoenix was raised in the Children of God cult, and his brother had an overdose. I believe it was suicide, although I'm not sure. Hi, Lusky. Just said hi to me. I'm going to get too sucked into these comments in a second, so I'm just going to reply to a few, and then we can get back to chatting, because I realized that for other people watching this later, this might be a less interesting segment, so I want to try and keep that keep things balanced.
They should all just send you super chats.
Yeah, that's a good point. If anyone wants special attention, send me a super chat, and I'll give you some special attention. I won't describe exactly what that special attention is. Mana said it wasn't suicide. It was so it was just an overdose. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, if anybody has anything particular they want my attention for, then send me a super chat. I will give you a non-specific kind of special attention, which we'll define later.
Behind closed doors.
Nothing too weird. We'll just see where things go. So there's one thing that I'm curious about, and this kind of changes the subject off a little bit off of the Joker. Atheism in general, there is often a degree of, I suppose, with like the new atheist and like the people that are into Dawkins, and obviously with the atheist experience and things like that, there's a lot of I want to be careful with, because I don't want to like go after the atheist experience, because I don't think that they necessarily fit into this, because they're sitting there and people are calling them. But there are a lot of atheists that will go in search of Christians to tear them a new one. and to go after their faith and things like that. And I have seen that happen. And I'm not really into that myself. I feel I'm very much one of those people that's just like, do you know what? As long as you're not hurting anyone, believe what you want to believe. Just get on with it, you know. However, the line for me is if I'm talking to someone and they say like, this is the truth. Like, and I'm like, you know, why do you believe that? Why do you think that's the case? And they're like, I believe it because it's true. I'm like, whoa, hang on. Right. How do you know it's true? And then from that point, we end up in either a conversation, a debate, or an argument, depending on how well they handle pointed questions. But I don't know. I as far as atheists go, I'm really fascinated with not just. I think a lot of atheists are fascinated with why people believe what they believe and the different things that people believe. And I've always been fascinated with that growing up. You know, my dad and I would talk about religion and all those kinds of things ad nauseum. But I wondered what your take was on that particular point in terms of where's the line for you in terms of when you will go after someone's faith, if we could even call it that, because I don't think that it's necessarily always that.
Do you mean like on a personal level, like go after someone on Twitter or something?
Twitter, in person, whatever. If someone's like, where's it? I just spat then. That happens all the time when I'm filming my videos and I'm always cutting it out. But you can't do that on a live. So there we go. Yeah. So
no one probably would have noticed if you didn't point it out, by the way.
Yeah, but if I didn't point it out and then they did notice, everyone would be like, oh, you just spit and you don't even say anything about it. You just spit. You just
own it, Andy.
Spit person. So yeah, no, I will own it. I spat then, and I'm not ashamed of it.
There you go.
Okay, see you later, atheist. New.
Oh, bye.
But yeah.
So
yeah, where's the line for you? Like, what will you? Are you like a believe what you want to believe, sort of live and let live, or will you, if someone says something, will you be like, oh, hang on, like at an earlier point than like a full-on truth claim?
I don't know exactly where I lie. I think that's something I'm kind of still figuring out about how I want to be. But generally speaking, especially in person, I don't really like talking to people too much about it in person. But online, sometimes I'll like talk to people, but I really don't like fighting with people about it. You know, I don't like when it gets aggressive. I try really hard to be respectful. Sometimes I get angry. Nobody's flawless. And then in regards to like, I didn't know if you were maybe talking about like response videos, because like I'll do response videos, and yeah. I'm kind of a sarcastic asshole, but you know, it's all in good fun.
I mean, I suppose when someone's putting a video out there and they're making assertions, they're putting themselves out there, and they know that there's gonna be people that want to be a sarcastic asshole with them. They know that there's gonna be people that are gonna be like, right, hang on a minute. I just suppose, like for me, okay, so Twitter's a good example of this because it's a really good way to just draw a line between the two, I think. If someone makes a tweet and they're just like, oh, praise God for this day, we're all so blessed, right?
Bye, mentally diseased.
Bye.
You didn't give him the attention for the super chat.
Was there a super chat come through?
I thought you were just waiting for a break in the conversation. I'm sorry.
I need to make sure that I'm seeing that. Give me a sec. So what was I going to say on this thing?
Sorry.
Lol. I think what I'll probably do with the super chats is go through them all at the end. Because that might just will give us some like clear time for the super chats. I'm just waiting for this page to load. Hopefully you can still hear me and everything.
I can hear you.
There we go. I love attention. That's good. Well, that's a big bright blue attention right there, or turquoise, whatever. Hanako. Hell, I mean hello.
Hell, that's where we're all heading someday.
So yeah. So what was I going to say to you? Yeah,
That
so
are
with
in
this,
like,
if someone tweets something and they're just like, praise the Lord for this day, we're all been so blessed and that, I'm going to be like, do you know what? I'm not there with you, but whatever, fair enough. But then if someone's sort of just like blah, 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 hashtag checkmate atheists, I'm like, right.
yeah, that gets annoying.
Because they're in trouble. They're looking for trouble at that point, right? So I feel like...
and it's never done in good faith.
Oh, no. No, it's always they want to fight. So we'll give them one. But I feel like generally, like, so I've talked to Jehovah's Witness grandparents that I mentioned about their faith, about the Watchtower, about some of the issues with the Watchtower. And I'm always really clear with them. Like, I have no problem with what you believe, like your actual faith. It's just that my concerns are with the organization. My concerns are with the negligence, or whatever you can call it. And I think that there's a number of different things you can call it. So I'm quite clear about that. But I'm, on the other side of it, I'm quite fascinated with faith in general and faith traditions in general and mythology and all those kinds of things, And I feel like, and I don't know if this is genuinely the case or if this is just the impression that I get, and maybe you'll be able to speak to this better than I will, but I do feel like it's possible for as atheists for us to throw the baby out with the bathwater a bit. Like, okay, so you don't believe, but there's some beauty and something quite fascinating about these mystical traditions, and there's something quite as a historical study, if nothing else, like to see where we came from as people and why we do certain things and how one faith became another faith, and like, especially if you look, like looking at Christianity and stuff, and a little bit of insight into the Canaanite pantheon and things like that. It's interesting, and I don't think that, although you don't we don't have to believe it, there's a lot there that is fascinating, and I know that, I suppose that it may be something that a lot of atheists are interested in personally, and that the main cause of atheism may be softened a little bit. The impact of the cause might be softened a little bit if you have all these atheists going like, no, and then they've also got some videos on their channel, for example, if they're a YouTuber, that are like, so this mythology and that mythology. But then, I don't know, I guess there's an argument to be made for it being for it being a good thing, and actually maybe strengthening the cause, because it shows that we're not against mystical traditions, we're not against faith, we're actually, some of us are interested in it, passionate about it. It's just the idea that you believe it and that you insist that X God exists. That's the issue, So I don't know. What do you think about all of that?
I do think there's a lot that's interesting about like history, religion, like the history of religion and religious beliefs that nobody follows anymore can be kind of interesting too. I also think that there can be more that's harmful with religion than just, oh, you have to believe it too. There are, like, Jehovah's Witnesses excommunicated our friend and kicked their kid out on the street. I'm talking about Skull Baby. And, like, I had another example in my head like 14 seconds ago. But yeah, maybe we need to be a little more open-minded with it. And I do think it can be interesting.
Yeah, I just while I'm here, I need to just, I don't know if I actually said thank you outright to Mentally Diseased for the super chat. I know I gave the attention, but I don't know if I said thank you. So I want to say thank you. Hey, Gabrielle, you've missed so much that you need to go back and rewatch this later. But just stay with us.
But stay for now. Yeah.
Stay for now and watch the rest of it, and then go back to the beginning and watch it again. Is that directed at me, White Jesus with dollar signs? If I was White Jesus, then I would have dollar signs in my name.
I could see it.
Yeah, just like also on like a chain that's like that says like Jesus, but like with the dollar signs, like chain. But yeah, no. So yeah, I do feel like as well. So I was watching Ocean Keltoy's video with Telltale that Telltale put out this week, and
I have not seen it yet.
I haven't seen it. I won't spoil it then. But what I did enjoy about it was to hear another person who, you know, I feel is skeptical, is an intelligent person, but speaking from a different position than like outright atheistic position that you hear so often in this community. I think that there's a real place for that in the community, and I think that it's needed because it softens. I think it can be quite easy to dehumanize people that don't believe or that believe something that you don't believe, you know? And you do see that a lot on the other side of things with like theists who dehumanize atheists a lot of times.
I feel like a lot of atheists seem to think that we're immune to a lot of the things we criticize theists for, like basically just screaming into an echo chamber. I think we do that sometimes. Like a lot of the times we're just kind of preaching to the choir, and
yeah,
ironically, and maybe we need to recognize that a little more.
Yeah. I think that this is
Ocean is cool.
Yes. I think that this is actually one of the reasons I want to do the little panel show thing that this is a kind of test for, is I want to have a place, and I know that there are places, but I've got some ideas for a place where we can have skeptics together and we can just talk as skeptics and not feel the need to disprove anything or to be on the all-out offensive with different positions. We can just sit down and we can just chat, maybe chat about, and with this, the show that I'm thinking about. See you later, Lusky. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
One of the things that I obviously have put into the actual structure of the idea for the show that I'm kind of planning is that we will bring something that we used to believe or something that our previous faith or whatever had as part of it that maybe we weren't that keen on, and we can just sort of pick that apart and talk about it, but not going, well, this study says that, unless we want to, and not saying like, well, that's a fallacy and blah blah blah, like in a more informal way, just sort of chat about it. I think that is needed in a way, because it does feel like there is kind of a bit of a battle going on between theists and atheists, and I think that may be an understatement. But it's nice to have a space, because like theists have a space where they can just go and just be theists, right? But how often do you have places where skeptics and atheists can congregate and just kind of be the way we are? But then I suppose to an extent, and I always do this when I make a point, I'm always like, yeah, but I can see the other side. I suppose that like that's just a normal get together, isn't it? That's just a normal hangout. That's just a normal place where friends get together and you don't talk about your faith. So what I'm thinking is setting up a church. No, I'm joking. So what I'd like to do really is create a space on my channel where we do these kind of maybe an hour or so, and I'll bring 2 other YouTubers in, skeptic or atheist, and we just chat about things. And obviously the first episode I'm planning is with you, Sarah, and I'm going to bring Atom the atheist in as well, and we can just sit and we can have a chat about things, have a laugh. Really, that's the main point. Have a laugh without feeling the need to prove anything. And I will make no promises about us proving or disproving anything within that. It's just going to be us chilling, you know, and having a laugh. So let me just check the chat just a second.
We just got a question.
We've got questions.
Well, I saw one, but you know, technically so.
You've heard a Christian say during a discussion, Sarah?
Let me think. Oh no. the one I think out of arguments, I think the one that annoys me the most is when they just go, "Oh, well, I'm sure God has his reasons," or like God works in mysterious ways, because it's such a cop out.
It is, isn't it? It is such a cop out. Yeah.
It's like, oh, I don't have an answer, so
I think that goes
whatever.
with the everything good, God did it, and everything bad, well, yeah, God works in mysterious ways, or it was the devil, right? And it's like,
I'll tell you what. Hold up. Oh, come on. Don't get tangled now. I am the devil and I didn't do it. That was too much.
That was too
much. I'm sorry.
It's just like the moment where you've done something and there's just that realization, I went too far there. Too much.
It's okay. That's okay. I called my patron spooktacular last week. I think that was worse.
So I did have one more thing I wanted to talk about, but before you mention your patron, I don't know if Nightbot has been present in the chat. It's supposed to have been present in the chat, but it doesn't look like it has. So let me just give a shout out to Sarah's channel and Sarah's Patreon and everything. If you like Sarah and you want to see more of her channel is linked in the description, I believe. I hope it is. It doesn't look like it is right now, but it will be there.
And if you don't like me and you want to hate watch me, feel free to subscribe for that reason too. I mean, either way.
Yeah, there's also an argument to be made for hate patroning. You can give a certain amount of money and then get access to more content and more. I don't know what you do on your Patreon, but more stuff behind the scenes that you can also hate watch and hate read and so on and so forth. That's there's a real benefit for that. Please don't do that to me, but I think Sarah's up for it.
What? So, you don't want them to give you money, you only want them to give me money?
No, I want them to give me money. I just don't want them to do it because they hate me. I would feel weird about it.
I'll take your money if you hate me.
Church of Ned.
That's a good idea.
You've summoned the Ned. Look, he's woken up from his deep and eternal slumber just to listen to his praises. He's actually half.
My cat's been just laying right over there and staring at me for like 10, 20 minutes.
It's possible that at any second his head's going to drop. So I'm just going to leave that there for a second.
Should I show them my dog's costume that I showed you before we started?
Yeah, if you want, yeah.
Okay.
And then
Come here.
Why don't you tell everyone about your channel while you're doing that?
Okay. Come here, buddy. He's so disobedient. Okay, my channel. Sorry. So I talk about similar stuff to Andey, like I said earlier. Atheism, religion. My religious background was Christianity. I was like super into it in my teen years, and then Mormons deconverted me. And this month I've been doing all like spooky themed stuff. So like demons and the what was the first one? Like 10 reasons why we shouldn't celebrate Halloween. The next week you will just have to wait and see what that is. Yeah, that's about it. I hope I'm interesting. Andey seems to think I'm interesting.
That's a really strong sell. So, yeah, if anyone wants to check out Sarah's channel, all her links should be in the description below. I've told StreamYard to put them there. I don't know if anyone can confirm whether they're there or not, but they should be there after. If they're not, they'll be there after this.
Buddies of me.
And also Sarah's Twitter. In fact, if anyone can just grab the link to Sarah's channel and Sarah's Twitter, that'd be amazing. Just drop them in here. I'm supposed to have a bot doing things, but this is a shambles at this point, so just bear with.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm messing this all up, aren't I?
I know that's not.
You can blame it on me. You can blame it on me, though. I'm giving you an out because it's your channel, so you know.
Sarah's fault that Nightbot isn't sending things in the chat.
It's definitely not just.
Also, Sarah, that there may not be links in the description.
I thought I saw links in the description.
There are links. Okay, well, if there's links, then that's a bonus because that's where you should be
never
going.
Mind. I was wrong. Oh. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, do you want to show you your dog's costume so people can see it more clearly?
Yes, my dog is a bumblebee, and he's had this costume for like 3 years, so one of the antennas is like dead. But yeah, but he's a
3
bumblebee.
years, and it
Yeah.
never gets old.
Never gets. And sometimes I'll have him wear it just for warmth because he gets cold really easily. So I have a few different like jackets and sweaters, and if everything's in the wash, then he'll wear this to go outside if it's too cold.
I'm gonna try and grab your Twitter for people. Top of your head.
I'll grab my YouTube for people.
Okay.
We're so productive, and
I
like,
know,
we're like, they should be proud of us.
How do I
They
search
should be very proud.
you on Twitter? Is it just Unholy Sara or like?
It's at Sarah_unholy, and I don't know why I did it that way.
That's such an early 2000s way of putting your name into something.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't online in the early 2000s, so I have to make up for it now. How do you share a channel?
Sarah here. That's Sarah's Twitter, everybody. You can click that in the chat.
I think that's Sarah's YouTube. Hopefully it works.
Have you just sent it through? Yeah?
Yes, it did. Sorry, what?
Okay, cool. There we go. So just smash the hell out of that like button, guys.
I'm the only one who's liked it as far as I can see. What the hell's wrong with you guys?
That's the point as well. Yeah, like the stream, please, everybody. That's really strokes our egos and makes us feel like we're doing something worthwhile. I'm just going to grab your Patreon as well. This is the thing. I've got all these links. Why am I just not grabbing them from a place that I've put them in?
I don't think that's how you're supposed to like the video, Gabrielle. I mean.
So, right, here we go. If anyone wants to become a patron of Sarah, you can do that here at this link. This is Sarah's Patreon. Okay. That sounds really like.
I'll check it out.
That is Sarah's patron. Also, if anyone wants to become a patron of me, and if you've only got a choice between the two of us right now, please support Sarah.
Well, I have more patrons than you.
Yeah, I know, but you're a guest here, so I have to say that. I don't mean it.
Fair enough.
And you can get my Twitter here as well if you haven't followed me on Twitter already. I don't know what you're playing at.
Andey's fun to follow. Ooh, careful if you're gonna jump down. Be careful. Good boy.
So yeah, there we go. Those are the links. Hopefully, they're also going to be in the description at the end of this, and also make sure that you've liked the stream as well. That would be.
That took a lot longer than just having the links in the description.
It did, and they should be in they should be in the description because I've told StreamYard to put them in the description. So I don't know what it's playing at. It's just
maybe we just need to figure it out a little more.
Yeah, if I do this in future, I'm gonna make a conscious effort to do a better job. So the good thing is that we're this is the first time, so
I think it went pretty well for the first time.
Yeah, it's not bad, and I'm not done yet. I do want to do one more little thing. So
okay.
We were talking about faith-friendly atheism, right?
Yes.
If you were to develop 3 tenets for a faith-friendly atheist to abide by, what would you put forward? What would be 3 things that you think we could, as atheists, do to be friendlier to faith while being true to our atheistic heathenry ways?
I don't know. Kind of just boils down to don't be a dick.
I think that's that's kind of one of my personal tenets as well. Just try not to be a massive dickhead.
Like sometimes you get frustrated. Sometimes you say something you don't realize how like rude it was or whatever. Everyone makes mistakes, but like don't like go in all aggressive and defensive and like already offended before they even say anything, you know? You ever talk to someone like that who's offended before you even like they're looking for something to be upset about, so they're offended before you even start talking?
Yeah. I think with like this it kind of comes down to like what you want from the conversation. Like I always find myself like pulling myself back and being like, what do I want from this? Like, why am I actually about to say this thing or tweet this tweet or whatever it is? Like, what do I want from this? Do I want to put their back up and wind them up and be right? Do I want to get a meh, got ya kind of moment? Or do I want to make a friend? Do I want to persuade them to see my side of things? And I think each of those should and does, and I think necessarily should in most cases, inform a different kind of approach. Like, for me, and it does annoy people, the kind of more Socratic, like, ask questions, like just sit and ask questions to understand where they're coming from. And I did this actually. I was talking to some of my family the other week, and I was challenging their kind of ideas on gender. And we're kind of talking, and they said something that I didn't really agree with. So I asked them a question. I said, so what do you mean by X? And they started to answer it. And halfway through, they said, I know what you're doing. And I was like, okay, so this is what you often get when you ask someone a question and they make a statement, and then you are kind of like gently showing them what's wrong with their position by highlighting the logical inconsistencies with a question. And people often feel like they're being like called out or like challenged personally. And so this is another point that I think for me is it kind of sticks out. It's like, and I don't know how possible this is, and I've mentioned this to a few people, but like I feel like it's kind of important to try to separate your beliefs from your values, if that makes sense. Like, I think your values should inform your beliefs, but I don't think that your beliefs and your values need to occupy the same space. Like, my values as a person is like, be respectful and like, you know, as you say, like, don't be a dick. Like, that's a pretty big one. Be respectful. Obviously, I value truth quite highly. You want to say something?
Yeah. So what you were saying earlier about, before you get too far away from it, about just asking questions, asking your family questions about like challenging their ideas on gender and everything. My mom in the past has been homophobic, transphobic, racist, only against Mexicans for some reason. Like all sorts of ideas like that. And none of that rings true. What?
It's a strange population to single out.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? It made me grow up racist as well. And so I had to like fight against that. But I hope I'm better off about it. Anyway, none of that is true about her anymore, because for the most part, at least, we didn't really believe the same way in those ways as our mom. And instead of like getting into fights with her, that's what we did. We'd ask her questions. We'd just make her think through things a little more. And so I've seen a lot of change. It's kind of cool.
I do see that a lot as well. Like, so many people's positions are default positions that they've been raised on, or that they've just, you know, in some way been indoctrinated into. And when you do get people to question, Dawn Uphead said this, gentle and productive Socratic method. And I agree. It does tend to lead to the right kind of places, because I think, honestly, personally, if I'm approaching someone who is in a position of faith, and this is more the case now as an atheist than it was ever the case when I was, you know, a new age or a person of faith in any regard. I'm not interested in persuading them to my position. I'm interested in getting them to dig down a little bit on their own, and kind of just, because when I hear something that doesn't make sense, I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Why doesn't that make sense? And why would someone believe that if it doesn't make sense? So I want to sort of dig down into that. But when you start asking questions, what you find is that they don't usually know why they believe that either. They just do. Or it's just like they've inherited it. You know, well, I was raised that way, and I was raised on good morals or whatever. And that kind of just, that's kind of your end result with it. And they won't go much further than that. So gentle questions to highlight the issues with that kind of thing.
That's another contender for most annoying thing that I've ever heard a theist say, is just, oh, I believe this because I was raised that way. And they say it like it's, I have to believe this. and it's not my fault, and it's the only thing I could possibly believe because that's what I was raised to believe. So what do you expect from me, to actually think for myself?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Sorry,
peculiar.
I didn't mean to get all ranty.
No, it's cool. It's peculiar though, isn't it? Like that we are.
Mm-hmm.
I think as well when you're looking at like religion and politics in particular, those two issues. There's this whole thing. Don't talk about them. Don't talk about politics. Don't talk about faith. Don't talk about religion. But the
The
issue
things that are
is,
so important.
yeah, those are all, if not the most two important things, up until the point where climate change became like
A crisis.
yeah, inarguably the most important thing, and it's not a secondary issue anymore. Other than that, I think indoctrination in particular, and that feeds in both to faith and to politics, is that's a crisis in its own right. And I think that we need to really be looking at, that whole thing about don't teach kids what to think, teach them how to think.
No one does it.
Yeah, that's such an important point. We kind of strayed from the tenets here, but this conversation is interesting, so I'm just going to let it slide.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it's. I think it's really important, and I don't know who said it, and I don't know where it was said, and if it was you, then please just say it was you. But let's not have an I'm Brian kind of a situation here where everyone says it was them.
It was me.
Someone said that they think that critical thinking should be taught in schools as a class. And I'm like, yeah, of course, like that makes sense. Of course, there's the other side of it where people are like, well, they don't want them to think, they want them to conform, they want them to grow up and be part of society. And I suppose there is an argument for that outside of the more like conspiracy minded kind of thinking. Yeah, I really feel like it would be a nightmare for teachers though. Can you imagine kids who have been taught critical thinking? That kids are belligerent enough. Can you imagine how bad it would get if you've got kids sitting there, like you've taught them the Socratic method and they already ask why too often. And now they're asking, how do you know that? It's like, yeah, I think that, I mean, at school, I was always really quiet. So I don't know that I would have engaged that very much until I hit college. And then when I got to college, I was just a little asshole. But
oh gosh, yeah.
I think that, yeah. What do you think on that in terms of critical thinking at schools and how we can encourage people to critically think gently?
Well, I'm about to make myself sound stupid, and I'm afraid of that. But what is the Socratic method?
Right, I had to look this up recently, so you're not that stupid. You're probably a week more stupid than me. We're measuring stupidness in time. I believe it's literally just asking questions. It's basically just asking questions. And someone in the chat's gonna be like, actually, no, it's this. So if that's you, feel free to do it, correct me. But
yes, please. We love being wrong because it means we get to learn, right, Andy?
Yeah, that's exactly the truth, Sarah. Thank you for reminding us. That's a really important thing for us all to remember. But yeah, no,
I was thinking of, sorry.
Basically just asking questions is like, yeah.
Because I was thinking of, God damn it, I keep doing that. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, stop interrupting me. It's really rude. This is my stream, okay? It's my channel, so know your place. Essentially, it's ask questions and point out logical inconsistencies with questions, essentially. I'm done now. You can unmute and say what you're going to say.
I unmute. There we go. I was thinking of, I'm in a philosophy 101 class. So like that gives you some idea of my level of philosophical understanding. It's not high.
I would really hope that they'd put the Socratic method into philosophy 101.
Maybe they did, and I just like
tuned out.
Need to go look at my notes. But I was thinking of like the Platonic dialogues and like Socrates like kind of breaking people's understandings of things down because they don't actually understand as well as they think they do and all that. And that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. So there's Dawn Arpad has said Socratic method, basically old-timey street epistemology. There you go.
Very old to me.
Street epistemology came from the Socratic method, as far as I'm aware. Like that's kind of it evolved out of it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So
we're talking about critical thinking skills.
critical thinking skills. And I think that kind of
Yes.
comes down to it though, doesn't it? Because I feel like critical thinking is one of those skills that you do have to practice. Like when I was in the online cult I was in, my critical thinking skill was just left aside, and I was thought for in a way. I just took on all this information, and just because that's kind of how these things work, you know. And when I came out of it and started to think for myself again, it took a while before I was really competent in thinking for myself. And even now I have moments where I'm like, okay, like that doesn't make much sense, and that's in my head, and that's my thinking. So yeah, you do have to kind of practice. So I think asking questions with people is a gentle way to help them gain experience and level up with their
Level up. I like that. That's cute.
But then I don't think that, like, so Lucas Wilkins just said basically going around being a dick to people. I think that is
It's a
I don't know
bad
what
way to do it.
the intention is with that particular comment, but I feel like it does raise an interesting point in that that's what. So I'm confused now. I need to not look at comments for a minute because I'm going to keep getting distracted.
Can I make a comment?
What?
Can I make a comment about that?
Yeah, of course you can.
If you do it wrong, then it's going around being a dick to people. You have to do it in good faith. You have to like be humble about it for one.
And you also, I think, asking loaded questions is a different thing to asking questions with the intention of like gently encouraging someone to recognize some logical inconsistencies in their faith. Like that's a really important distinction. And if you don't make that distinction and you are literally using the Socratic method or street epistemology or something like that with the intention of convincing someone to proselytize basically, then you're misusing it, I think. And so at that point, yeah, that can be pretty dicky.
You have to be a good dick.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Dick.
Everyone likes a good dick.
If there's any chance of this video getting monetized, it is washed
No.
out.
I'm sorry. I was trying so hard.
So I'm not going to put Doorknob Head's comment about being a good dick up on the screen for that reason alone, but know that it has my approval, or heart or whatever, depending on what platform we're on. What is it on Twitter? It's on YouTube. It's both, isn't it? I can give you my approval with my face on it. There you go. But yeah, so I suppose we're kind of
cute, Andy.
Am I? Is that what this is coming off as? I'm glad it's coming off as cute. I think we're going to do a wrap up maybe in a few minutes. If anyone wants any special attention, feel free to super chat. The only one we've had so far is from Mentally Diseased, and that was because he loves
attention. Not a bad place to start, though. Mentally Diseased is pretty cool.
Yeah, Mentally Diseased is great, and shout out to Mentally Diseased channel as well. It's great. So yeah, if anyone wants to super chat and have some special attention in the next kind of 5 minutes or so, go ahead and do that. We'll just chat among ourselves for a minute, and then if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, then we'll jump off. But yeah, I don't know what I was going to say. What can people look forward to on your channel going forward? I know you mentioned Halloween stuff.
Yeah, I've got 2 more Halloween videos. There's some things that I kind of like put off. I can't remember what they are right now, but I had some ideas that I was really excited about, but I put them off to do the Halloween things. And then I think I told you about this already. If not, you probably saw it on my Twitter. Somebody did a blog responding to one of my videos, and I intend to respond to their blog after spooky season's over. So yeah, that's some of the stuff to look forward to. That and just watch me cry when I have to take down all my Halloween decorations.
Are you going to do that in a video?
No. You think I want everyone to see me crying? It's not pretty. I am an ugly crier.
Halloween's over, so now I'm going to take down my decorations, and then sad walking away theme and decorate. down and cry, and then show everyone the box at the end. And there's just like they just see the box, and suddenly there's like wet dots on the box. That would be pretty cinematic if you could pull it off. I'd watch it.
I'm not that cinematic. My best friend in high school, Brett, she was the cinematic one. She was the cinematographer. She went to Denver School of the Arts for cinematography. We'll just fly her out to Idaho and have her shoot all that.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. It sounds quite.
That sounds reasonable. Yeah, and put them up in a hotel because I don't have a place for people to sleep in my house other than the one bed where I'll be.
Sofa under the desk.
The sofa, the couch is one of those ones. Why do I keep looking at it under my curtain here? It's one of those ones that has like the cup holders in the middle, and it doesn't like fold up or anything, so you can't really like sleep on it. You can sit on it. Maybe fall asleep. And there is a recliner, but it's really old and cruddy, and like there's metal bits sticking out in places. We're not rich. We're like, early to mid 20s, starting out on our own. So, please don't judge us too harshly. Half our furniture we got for free from people.
Fair enough. I know how that is. I get that. But basically, your couch says we don't want guests to stay. I think guests can visit. They can be here for a short while. They can sit on the floor, but they can't stay. Is that what you're saying?
Yep. And the house is small enough that there's not really any place to like lay down a sleeping bag either, except maybe in the kitchen. But that'd be kind of weird.
Yeah. No. I mean, if you got to do it.
So yeah, my whole house says you can come over, but you can't stay the night.
Yeah. And if the Halloween decorations don't add to that, I don't know what does. I mean,
the orange lights here, I might put on the Christmas tree. I mean, it's a black Christmas tree, so.
Of course it is.
It's
a black Christmas tree. It's Unholy Sara.
I don't know what to say to that. Like, you're right.
Like literally, like Christmas is still Halloween. It's a black tree with orange lights. That's just it's.
Why do you think I like The Nightmare Before Christmas so much? It's Christmas and Halloween. I don't have to give up my favorite holiday to say hello to the next one. Black hearts on Valentine's Day too. Did you freeze? All right, he's frozen. But look how pretty Andey is. The way what side?
Can you hear me? Am I here?
There we go. I was telling them how pretty you are, frozen.
Oh well, that's fine and weird, awkward, very awkward.
I had to fill up the time. You were frozen.
Fair enough. So yeah, I think that might be like a little signal to like just call it a day in case it starts messing up more. But we're kind of drawing to that time now anyway. It's been about an hour and 10 or something. So if there's anything else you want to shout out or anything, you go ahead and do that now, and then we can call it an end.
Subscribe to Andey and I.
Yes, please do.
And follow us on Twitter and support us on Patreon.
Yes, all those links should be in the description at the end, and if they're not there now, then when the stream ends, just wait like a minute, refresh the page, all the links will be there because I'm going to make sure they're there. I'll make sure of it. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. Thanks everyone for watching. Thank you, Unholy Sara, for joining the stream. It's been nice to chat, as always. And it's slightly weird to do it live in front of people because when we're talking, we're normally just kind of just chatting and playing Minecraft. So it's nice to have an audience while we talk to each other. It boosts the ego. It feels great.
And luckily, it didn't get as weird as it sometimes does on Minecraft.
Yeah, I mean, some of the things that you come out with always put me on edge. But yes, so thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like the stream if you have enjoyed it, and share it with
stay unholy.
Stay unholy, and I'll see you in the next one. The cat has literally just started to get in the litter box now, so
good timing to end.
Yeah, perfect timing. Yeah. So yeah, stay unholy, my friends, and I will see you in the next one. Endcast.